This morning on DC News Now, early in-person voting starting in DC. The top issues on the minds of voters in the district. A cold start to the week across the DMV, but warmer weather expected to return and stick around for Halloween. And fighting back against breast cancer.
We can't prevent breast cancer, but you can reduce your risk.
What medical experts say you should do to spot signs before it's too late. A Hail Mary in Northwest Stadium.
This town is going crazy.
The Commanders beating the Bears at the buzzer. And getting a panda preview. The National Zoo teasing its giant panda cam as the Bears settle into their new home.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
All right, well, good morning, and thanks for starting your Monday with us here on DC News Now. It is 6 o'clock. I'm Tanaya Wright.
Good morning to you. I'm Corey James. Shaniqua's going to give you more on those roads this morning to get you out the door in just a second. Let's start things off with meteorologist Jackie Lair on what is a very cold start to this Monday morning.
Yeah, we do have some freeze warnings in effect. That's for DC as well as Northern Virginia, parts of Maryland as well. Let's take a look at those current temperatures, though, to kickstart your Monday. Notice a lot of the region covered in those 30s. We're talking about temperatures below the freezing mark for some parts of the region. We're seeing that right now in Manassas, which just dropped down at the top of this hour to 30 degrees right now. Right at the freezing mark in Frederick, or below the freezing mark in Cumberland. Seeing much of the I-81 corridor included in those lower 30s. Hagerstown coming at 41. It's 45 right now in DC. So yes, colder start out there this morning. Eventually by 11 o'clock, we'll see those temperatures in the lower 50s. Eventually low to mid 60s, though, later on this afternoon under those mainly sun-filled skies. Now today, tracking the mainly sun-filled skies, the temperatures in those low to mid 60s. As we get towards tomorrow, a little bit warmer, lower 70s, and we'll continue that warming trend all the way through Halloween. Over those details and how much warmer it'll get coming up. But Shanika's back. The latest on those roadways. What are you seeing on this Monday morning?
All right, looking at the roadways on this very cold morning. Inner and outer loop, you're looking good over the Woodrow Wilson Bridge. We are seeing one problem, or two problems rather. This is off of 301. That's heading northbound right near Old Indian Head Road. So definitely just watch for flashing lights. I'm not seeing any delays in that area. Now in the district, this is DC 295, just past Kenilworth Avenue, right over the line of DC and Maryland. You will see a crash again heading southbound. So past Kenilworth Avenue over the Anacostia Freeway, it is busy.
All right, thank you, Shanika. Well, shots are fired at the Anacostia Metro Station following a dispute on the Green Line train.
And that's according to Metro Transit Police. Police say a man was grazed by a bullet before 7 o'clock last night. Investigators believe a dispute between the suspect and a man spilled out into the Metro station, later resulting in that shooting. They say the man injured was taken to the hospital and is expected to be okay. Police are asking anyone with information to contact them. In Maryland, police say a motorcyclist is dead after hitting an animal overnight. This happened near Ritchie Marlboro Road and Upper Marlboro around 12:30. Prince George's County Police say no other driver was injured or involved. Officials are still working, though, to determine exactly what happened.
And Montgomery County Police arrested 8 people accused in a string of break-ins. Now, investigators say they were an organized Romanian crime group. Last night, officers spotted the suspect's car near a home that had been broken into several times in recent weeks. Now, they tracked the group as they went to another home in Clarksburg, then to a Wawa where they were arrested. They are facing multiple burglary charges this morning. Police are investigating this again to see if there's anything related to this. Well, DC News Now is your local election headquarters, and it's the first day of early voting in the district.
Yeah, there are so many important things on the ballot, especially as you get ready to head out to cast your ballot for this year's general election. DC News Now's Jean-Marie Sissé is live this morning at a polling site in Southeast DC. And Jean-Marie, thousands of people have already cast their ballots so far.
Yeah, good morning. When nearly 30,000 people have already turned in their mail-in ballots for this general election, and more people will be turning up to the polls today to cast their early voting during this period, starting today up until Sunday. Now, here's what you need to know as you come to the polls. Now, outside of the 2024 presidential election on the ballot, we do have some important things that local residents here in D.C. should be aware about. Now, one of them is Initiative 83, and that's actually a new way to vote, which will allow ranked ranked choice voting, where voters would be able to rank 5 candidates on the ballot, and allows any voter who is not registered with a political party to vote in the primary election of that voter's choosing for all offices. Now, that's one thing on the ballot. Another thing on the ballot, which is also a big decision here in the district, is Ward 8 candidates, Republican Nate Narange and Democrat Trayon White Sr. Now, recently, White actually pleaded not guilty to federal bribery charges after being accused of accepting thousands of dollars in cash bribes in exchange for D.C. helping secure D.C. government contracts for businesses. Well, in a couple hours, voters will have the choice to make their decision, as early voting centers will begin to open around 8:30 a.m. up until 7 p.m. today. Now, to vote, all you need to do is to be a U.S. citizen, a resident of D.C., and at least 17 years old. And if you aren't registered to vote just yet, you can definitely come out here and do that today, along with voting as well. And you just need to bring a proof of residency, like an ID or possibly a utility bill that's not past 90 days. Now, again, early voting centers will open around 8:30 a.m. up until 7 p.m. starting today up until November 3rd, which is Sunday, and election day is November 5th. For now, reporting in Southeast D.C., I'm Yalmarie Sase, DC News Now.
All right, a good option to avoid those long lines. Yalmarie, thank you. Time right now is 6:05. Former President Donald Trump's New York City rally sparking some backlash this morning after some say a speaker made several racist comments. Comedian Tony Hinchcliffe delivered a set to the crowd before Trump took the stage. This is one comment he made, drawing criticism from both parties.
You know, there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay.
A Trump senior advisor says that joke does not reflect the views of President Trump or the campaign.
All right, well, the National Park Service has approved a permit for the Harris campaign to host an event on the Ellipse right near the White House. It is scheduled for Tuesday night and expected to bring thousands of people. Our Christian Pena has more.
Vice President Kamala Harris is set to speak on the Ellipse Tuesday night, and security is at the top of some people's minds as preparations kick off.
I think this could become chaotic because a lot of people got a lot of different views, and it's a lot of stuff going on in the world.
I worry about what people who don't support her would do to her supporters or try to disrupt.
The campaign expects Tuesday's event to host up to 20,000 people to the National Mall. The last time a major political figure spoke on the Ellipse was then President Donald Trump on January 6th, the day insurrectionists flocked to the Capitol.
I could not believe that happened in my lifetime.
According to the event permit approved by the National Park Service, overnight security is employed to ensure the setup remains in place, a relief for some tourists who praise the National Mall for its peaceful environment.
It's pretty secure now, so I mean, I guess if it had the same energy, it should be good.
All right, well, tomorrow's event expected to start at 7 o'clock. Following her speech at the mall, Harris is heading to Michigan. Then on Wednesday, she'll visit North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Meantime, some voters concerned about post-election violence. That is according to a survey by the Associated Press NORC Center. Now, data from the survey shows about 4 in 10 voters say they're extremely concerned about violent attempts to overthrow the election results. 1 in 3 voters say they're extremely concerned about local or state officials trying to stop the final results. Only a few voters say they are not concerned about anything happening. And Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin and Attorney General Jason Miyares are vowing to appeal a federal judge's order, and this is to restore thousands of suspected non-citizens to voter rolls.
Yeah, they say they will take the issue all the way up to the Supreme Court. DC News Now's Liberty Simmons breaks down why the judge ruled against them. And Liberty, so many people want to know, what do we know about this all?
Well, good morning, Corey and Tanaya. Well, the federal judge sided with a Virginia judge's ruling against the purging of as many as 1,600 registered voters here in Virginia. And she based it on a federal law that prohibits purging of voters 90 days before a presidential election. And that federal judge also said the state lacked proof that these purged voters were non-citizens, but said the state went ahead anyway and canceled those registrations in violation of federal law. Now, the Justice Department and voters rights groups say many of the voters purged were in fact citizens. They say their registrations were canceled because of bureaucratic errors or mistakes like a mischecked box on a form. Now, Attorney General Jason Miyares responded to the ruling by saying Virginia will be filing an appeal in the U.S. Supreme Court immediately. Governor Glenn Youngkin posted on X saying it is common sense. Non-citizens shouldn't be on our voter rolls. He praised Miyares for filing an emergency appeal of the order for Virginia to put over 1,500 people who self-identified as non-citizens back on the voter rolls. Meanwhile, there are nearly 6 million registered voters here in Virginia, and under this federal judge's order, Virginia would have to reinstate those nearly 1,500 or more people who were removed. For now, live here in Alexandria, Liberty Simmons, DC News Now.
All right, well, a big win for Washington. The Commanders beating the Bears on a last-second Hail Mary pass.
Yeah, this is very exciting. Rookie phenom Jaden Daniels throwing the ball all the way down the field, somehow ending up safely in the end zone in Noah Brown's hands. Now the win growing some excitement around DC's football team, currently standing alone at the top of their division. As DC News Now's Dave LaValle reports, they attribute most of their success to one man.
Turned out. Jaden Daniels is our guy.
Alex Joyce believes it following Sunday's last-second heroics that improved the Commanders to 6-2 on the season.
Now that he's here, we can actually win games. It feels like it's a kind of a rebirth at the organization.
Daniels started Sunday's game against Chicago after a rib injury forced him from last weekend's rout over Carolina.
It's good. He's looking good so far.
Washington fan Chelsea O'Hanlon takes in the action at Exile Sports Bar. She's excited to see the rookie quarterback back on the field.
I'm a little nervous because I have PTSD from the RG3 era when he started, and he shouldn't have, and he ended his career. But it's a big game, so I understand the importance of him starting. I'm just a little nervous.
Daniels has led the Commanders to atop the NFC East. His performance has grabbed the attention of even non-Washington fans, like Stephen Towers.
I think he's an excellent young talent, and I can feel the energy in the city. Everyone's so excited.
Daniels is not the only reason fans had to be excited Sunday. Caleb Williams played his first game in the DMV since the Chicago Bears made the DC native the overall #1 pick in this year's NFL draft. Williams has led Chicago to a 4-3 record.
He's exceeded expectations, I think. I'm looking off to man shot pick at the high stand.
Williams and Daniels went first and second in the draft. In Northwest, Dave LaValle, DC News Now.
All right, time right now, 6:12 on this Monday morning. People in Alexandria, Virginia coming together against bullying.
That they are. The event bringing awareness to the root cause of the issue. And after the break, hearing from medical professionals on how to spot signs of breast cancer and what you can do to reduce your risk.